Alright everybody, hello and welcome to episode 13 of our Pentagon Challenge. 13 unlucky for some. I don't think it's going to be for us. We've got a bunch of stuff that we're going to try and cover off in today's episode. Now we have jumped forward a little bit, but that's purely because we had like one of the busiest off seasons we've ever had, and it has been like a week and a half since the last episode. I think we had like the Easter long weekend and then I was away for work, and it really gave me an opportunity for a first time in a good few seasons to actually sit down and like properly scout everybody, have like targets that we really wanted to aggressively go after on free contracts, and also more thoroughly look at other areas of the world. If you've already clicked on the thumbnail, you've kind of seen what I've been working with. But we are going to try and leverage some of those, like, you know, young players coming through from other regions of the world to try and turn them into stars in China that may potentially make the jump onto bigger clubs elsewhere in the world. But we've got a bunch to cover off. We're not going to waste too much time. Let's jump in and see where we're at. So first and foremost, we are at the start of the season. I am going to bring you this game against Dalian Professional today to kick off our season and hopefully get a better place to finish than when we ended up last year. If you didn't go and watch last episode 12, please go and check that one out. It was a fantastic escape on the final day of the season to secure our spot in the next division, or in the division again for another season. Now we want to try and jump up the table a little bit. I'm aiming for a top 10. That's my realistic expectation for this season. That's how far I think we can go. And then if we have a similar off season where we build again, grow, hopefully we can start talking about those top 4 finishes, those Champions League spots, getting that first Champions League title and moving over to Africa where we're going to go after our next continental title. But that's all future episode stuff. For now, we're going to focus on this upcoming season. Pre-season has been pretty decent. We've played majority sides. We've played a couple of local teams early on, but they're majority sides that have come across from either Korea or Japan or wherever else. The Japan team's obviously not real sides, but our results have largely been good. We're playing some big teams in that. Like the teams we lost to were Suwon and then Higashiosaka Rosa, who I think is Gamba Osaka. And they are both teams that you would expect to be up and challenging for the Champions League each season. So to get, you know, like defeats to them, that's not the worst thing in the world. But progression, like we want to see ourselves doing better in future seasons. We did get some good results as well. Like we beat Pohang, Jeonnam, Incheon. Those are teams that have been in and around the Champions League over the last few seasons from the Korean side of it. So we are continuing to kind of like build and get a little bit better, but there is still room for us to go before we start getting to, I think, the top echelon of Chinese sides. Transfers, because I know that's the part everybody cares about. At the end of last season, we did turf a few more players. We got rid of a few that were just on too much money or that I thought we could get upgrades for. We have gotten rid of all of our Australians. You may remember last episode I brought in 4 Australians to kind of like galvanise the team, try and build us up to really get that. And I think they did a great job helping us get to a certain point in the division. But we've looked in a different area now for our foreign players. We can only have 4 in a matchday squad, so it doesn't really make sense to keep the Australians around any longer. So Adam Brown left for 10 million. You'll see there's a few more that have left in the next season, but we ended up making last season $45 million. I nearly said dollars, yuan in profit. This year, we've gone above that again. We've got 50 million already and we haven't spent a single cent, which is fantastic. So we are continuing to kind of grow, continuing to try and get those funds back in to solve some of our financial issues and woes. We are back up into a positive balance now. I would expect this is going to probably drop down to that negative 30 million mark by the end of the season, but we are now within 12 months of our stadium actually being announced, the brand new stadium. If I win the league or something crazy, I think that's the only way I could potentially jump up to like legendary status in time to get the stadium named after myself. I'm in favoured personnel now. If I win the league, I think I could jump up to legend, but I don't realistically see that happening. It would be a miracle to pull that one off. So financially good. We have, again, set a new transfer record for funds received. So we are continuing to try and do our part to recycle players through, get ourselves into a good financial position, and hopefully, you know, get some stability to push on and start paying quite a bit. Having said that, our wage budget is out of control. If you have a look, we are at negative 800K per week. Now that sounds huge, but because it's Chinese yuan, it's not that much realistically. If you're in the UK, it's probably about 10K. If you're in Australia, it's closer to like 200K. But we've just kind of done the best we could with what was served to us. Most of that 50 million out that I sold, I don't get back. I get about 10% back. And all I'm doing is slamming that money straight into the wage budget so that I can try and get some better players in. But I felt we had to go over it again to really try and make a push. And that brings us to the team itself. So Tactically speaking, we've made a couple of slight tweaks to a couple of little different roles there. We're going to try DLP and a Mazzala at the base of midfield this season. We're going no-nonsense centre-backs just because of the two that we've got on hand aren't the strongest. We are going to try and get a little bit of flipped stuff here with the wide roles as well, just kind of changing sides for a few different things. But the big ones that I want to bring you guys through, well, the big recruit starting at the back is Yu Min Kun. We've got a 4.5-star goalkeeper, 21 years of age. He played at Hebite Fortuna in the second division last season, was excellent. Didn't want to sign a new contract because he wanted to come back up to the top division, and he's been fortunate enough to jump in for us. He's on 100K a week, which is massive. That is a fair chunk of our wage budget per week. But already at 15 million value, still 21, he's going to continue to get better. 4.5-star current ability, 5-star potential. Couldn't really go past him once he was there on the open market, so we have brought him in. And I'm hopeful that that will help kind of organise our backline a little bit better, or at least maybe if he's great, he can keep us in a couple of games when we're playing either away from home or against higher opposition. We've got a couple of players that you may have seen previously. Hai Tao, we signed on a free transfer towards the end of last season. Moshi played for us last year. Ku Hao was in there. Wang An was excellent for us last season. Zhang Wei was all right. Not fantastic, but, you know, we're working through that striker position. The ones that I want to focus on showing you guys now are the Brazilians. We've seen it on the thumbnail, that Ronaldo horrific haircut. We have really made our first venture into South America to try and scoop up some talent. The first one is Juarez Moraes, or Moraes, however you want to pronounce it, is fine. 25-year-old who was previously at Atletico Paranaense. He is 4.5-star current ability, 5-star potential, an excellent player. He's on 60K per week, so not a horrible amount of money. He's a no-nonsense fullback, technically not great, but physically just a beast. Mentally fairly decent as well. If we can just get him doing the defensive things we want from him, he'll be fantastic. We're going to play him as a fullback on attack because I want to try and still get him forward. His crossing and dribbling aren't great, but we have been working him towards that stuff. You can see, even though he's a free transfer, 47 million he's already worth. So worst case scenario, if this goes tits up and we just want to sell him for 40 million, we've made a huge profit on one individual player, which is fantastic for us. Another Brazilian that's joined us, and one I'm most excited about because I think he's our highest potential player that we've got, and potentially the first player we might get that could go to wonder kid status, maybe in the course of the save in the series. But 18-year-old Vasil, who joins from Gremio, 4.5-star current ability and potential, can play as a deep line playmaker, and that's really one of the reasons why we've made that tactical adjustment to get that DLP in midfield, get him settled in that role, continue his development. Technique very good for what we need him to do, hasn't got much outside of those key ones, but that's all we really ask for him. Tackling, we are having him work on a little bit as well to try and add that defensive steal so that he can play in that defend role, but again, it's a secondary attribute. I'm not too worried about it. Worst case scenario, if it doesn't work out, we might put like a ball-winning midfielder next to him and see how that goes. Mentally decent, we'll still continue to improve because he is only 18 years of age. Physically all right as well. His pace, his stamina, his strength, all getting better given that he is still a teenager. Very, very excited about Vasil. I think he's going to be excellent for us over the next few seasons. And then we've got 2 stars on either wing. I looked at our squad last season and I did go by star ratings a little bit, but really where were the key areas that I thought we could improve, and the wide positions in that kind of front 3, front 4 are really where I wanted to kind of go after it. Wang Ang was excellent for us last year. Zhang Wei still has like really good potential at 20 years of age, so I'm not yet ready to give up on him just yet, but the wide positions I definitely looked at as somewhere that I thought we could improve. The first one that's joined us is Souza, who is a 25-year-old also joining us from Brazil. He was in Santos. You can see he's a left-footed player on the left-hand side. He can play as an advanced playmaker, which I've been flirting a little bit with in pre-season, but for now we're going to use him as an inside forward on attack to just try and make the most of his creative abilities. Very good. Double figures on pretty much all of these traits except finishing, which is fine. Mentally very good. Probably the highest flair that we've had at any point. Good determination, good composure, bravery, good teamwork, good physical attributes as well. I think he's going to be an absolute star for us. Free transfer. He's on 100K a week. He's already worth 155 million Chinese yuan. He does have in his contract a release clause of 100 million. If someone's willing to pay that, they can have him. That's fine. We will take that 100 million profit on the transaction itself. The only thing that it's costing us is a relatively high wage, but that's okay. On the other side, another Brazilian again to round out the 4, Yanatis or Janatis, however you want to pronounce that, or Honatis, I think it would be in South America. He jumps across from Santos as well, 65 appearances over the last 9 years for them, 26 years of age. He's the oldest of the group, but we are going to use him as the inverted winger on attack on that right-hand side. He couldn't do that role when he joined us. We ended up with 2 left-footed players, both looking to play on the left-hand side, but because of his versatility and his skill, he has pretty quickly worked his way into some decent form on that right-hand side. We'll continue working him on that side as we go through the season. 5-star current ability, 5-star potential. He's already a star for the division. mentioned, again on a free transfer. Again, he's on a fair bit, 100k a week. Already worth 177 million yuan as his overall value. His contract release clause is also 100 million. So if someone comes in and pays that, that's fine. They can have him. But he looks to be an absolute beast as well. Technically, probably the best of the ones that we've picked up. 15 technique, 13s in there, 11s, 12s. Mentally, not the strongest of the group, but I think he can do everything that we need him to do, which is like his off-the-ball movement and work rate. That's all we need from him. I'm not worried about a 26-year-old trying to like make the most of his determination or decision-making or anything like that. And physically, very, very gifted as well. 17 pace, 18 agility, 15 acceleration, 14 stamina. An absolute beast. I think he's going to be fantastic for us and one to keep an eye on for. So, in future, we probably will jump forward towards the end of the season and see how we go, but potentially we might look at making this an advanced playmaker role on the left-hand side, and maybe Wang An becomes more of like an attacking midfielder, which he can do. Maybe he becomes an enganche on support. We will see, but those are kind of the outstanding tweaks that I haven't quite decided exactly what we're going to do from the off. But we are going to go attacking as our base instruction. For most home games, we are going to keep this possession-based style, which is a little bit less aggressive in the press, a little bit more conservative in possession to really try and hold onto the ball away from home. But I'm very happy with the squad that we've put together. I think this is the best squad we've had to date. It's a little bit top-heavy. You can see star ratings and stuff like our fullback and central defensive areas are where we need the most improvement. But again, those are young Chinese players that we expect to improve going into this season, and if they have a good year, I don't see any reason why they couldn't get to like 3.5, 4 star within 12 months' time. Looking at the league itself, of course, there are still a variety of teams that are very, very strong. We're expected to finish rock bottom of the division, 1,001 odds. I'm not that worried about that because that's what they said last season, and we stayed in the league with a much worse team than what I think we have now. Very even split across the Media Dream 11. I think there's 7 different sides represented, and they are effectively the top sides that you can see here. Henan, who actually won it a couple of seasons ago, they're at $17. Beijing favourites, Guangzhou, Shandong, Changchun, Tianjin, Taita, Shanghai Shenhua. Guangzhou City are very, very good. They're expected to do well. Jiangsu have won the league in the last few seasons. Zhejiang, also a side that we've struggled about. Qingdao, who we got promoted with 2 seasons ago, they're still in the division and now at $34 odds. So some big, big teams that I expect to do quite well. Shanghai coming straight back into the league after dropping down last season is big. And there have been some absolutely huge amounts paid for various different players throughout the course of this offseason for other transfers around the division. I don't know any of them. They're all regens now, but there are quite a few teams that I expect to be very, very competitive this season. First one we're going to keep an eye on here, though, is Grant Morio Maholo, who is a 21-year-old South African left winger. He's in the Media Dream 11 as a number 10. He's come across from Kaiser Chiefs. We're going to come up against him today. So remember that name, remember that face. We might be seeing it again. But we start the season at home to DL Pro. I desperately want to get off to a good start. I don't think we've ever beaten them at any point throughout the course of our history. 3 defeats, 1 draw is our best result at the start of last season. If we can get 3 points today, I think that's going to go a long way to starting our season in really good form. Last season, we went 12 games before we got our first win, and that really killed our momentum. If we could start strong, get our 3 points off to a good start to start the season, I think we're really going to see a lot of improvement throughout the course of the year. But more than enough from me. We've recapped a bunch. Let's jump in and check out the first game of the year. Now, lineups. Zhang Wei is not ready to start. I don't think he's ready to start. Should we risk him? Yeah, we'll risk him. We'll risk him for the sake of showing you guys our preferred starting 11 at the start of the season. Going to go attacking from the off. So maybe a little bit risky paying Wei Zhang from the start, or Zhang Wei, whichever way you're supposed to say it, but we will maybe make that change relatively early on in the game if we need to. Can't tell their shape yet, but we will have a quick look. Assertively, I'm going to say, so point finger, avenge what happened last time we played DL Pro, and even the players that weren't here, like Souza, Yanardis, Juarez, Moraes, Vasil, they've all responded positively, which is fantastic. They've read up on the history of Shenyang Airborne throughout the course of last season. And early doors, opening 10 minutes, we've had quite a few shots already, which is good to see. This is the first highlight, though. Ball forward by Maushi. Wasn't a great one. Guess that's a challenge. We're going to have to be a bit more patient, I guess, with the centre-backs because they're going to clear, I think, a lot more balls being no-nonsense centre-backs this season. Souza does well to recover possession, but it falls back to Fukushima. Clearance away again. We're under a little bit of pressure here. The overlapping fullbacks are starting to get forward in the second phase now. It's pinballing around, ball back stick to Fukushima again. Just stand him up, boys. The cutback's there, and Han Wei has gotten the go-ahead goal for DL Pro. We'll check this one out in 3 dimensions. To be fair, they got a good amount of bodies forward very quickly. Fukushima, lovely ball there. This is the one that kills us. That second run from Han Wei. Wang An probably need to go with him. but I've got him set to attack. So I guess I kind of have to take the heat for those 3 being at the edge of the area as opposed to tracking men in the box. His first highlight has gone DL Pro's way and the first goal, but still a long way to go in this one. Throw in left-hand side, Moraes to take into Souza. Now to Howe. Reverse past the edge of the area, finds Unitas, who rounds the keeper superbly and gets the goal on his debut. He has been excellent this off-season. He's very quickly become accustomed to playing as the inverted winger on that left-hand side. Great run here from Howe. Then a reverse pass to Ann. Lovely weighted pass there. Keeper comes out. Unitas maybe doesn't even get the touch. It might have been Diakite, but he stays on his feet, gets the clear angle, and all he has to do is side foot that one home into the back of the empty net, and we get our equaliser. Souza here, near post free kick, and he's fine. Ye Ha Tao. First goal of the season and first goal for the club. We signed him on a free transfer towards the end of last season, so a few people might have noticed him in our future transfers. And it's a lovely little ball back across. He's left-footed by... I think he's left-footed. I'm not 100% sure on that now. Is he left? No, he's right-footed. Moushie's left-footed. But a lovely finish to give us the 1-goal advantage and lead the first time in the contest. And they've just gotten one back there from a set piece of their own. It's by Liang. It's going to go down as an own goal. We're going to check this one out in 3 dimensions and see how it actually played out. Han Wei, backstick ball. Haitao actually missed it, and it hits by Liang, who's standing right there. Why wouldn't he clear that? It might have been that it just hit him in an area of his body where they don't have an animation for it. I might throw a demand more shout in here for the last 5 minutes of the half just to get some focus. But so far, other than the 2 goals conceded, we've not looked terribly. Statistically, we're doing all right as well. And as halftime's called, 6 shots, 3 on target, 1.37 XG and 53% possession. For Dalian, 5 shots, 3 on target, 0.64 XG and 47% of the ball. So we are on top. I'm going to say I'm pleased with how things are going. Keep it up, and everyone seems inspired and motivated. So perfect response. And we are going to give it 15 minutes, as we usually do before we look at subs. But we've got a couple of decent performers across the pitch, but there are a few 6.5s, 6.6s, 6.7s that I am wary of. And you know what? This second half is already rocketing past incredibly quickly. So with 30 minutes remaining, we are going to be the first ones to really make that tactical change. And I'm just going to go on condition because we are playing a pretty aggressive press. I'm going to leave Souza out there because I think he's quite good, but we're going to take off Bai Liang, who's got a pretty poor match rating. Howe hasn't had a great game either, but I think he was good for the build-up to that goal. I'm wondering why he doesn't have a better match rating, but that's okay. Jiang Lei, we're going to take off Zhang Wei because we know Wei was struggling for a bit of form or a bit of fitness getting into the match, and you can see the immediate drop in quality. Like, we're bringing on 2-star players here. So at the same time as we do that and kind of reduce our overall quality on the pitch, I'm also going to drop back to our possession-based style. We will see if that helps give us a little bit of a boost. And that last sub I might hold on to. I'm not sure if I want to take off any of the Brazilians just yet because I think they've got the capacity to be match winners for us. But we will see how we go. We're also going to throw a demand more shout out there. Let's see if this possession-based change helps us create or control some of the chances and highlights that we're seeing. They've immediately come the other direction here, and they've pinballed around. Thankfully, Xiao Lang's shot straight at Min Kun in goal, and the highlight might continue here. Long one forward towards Wang An, who's done very well to bring it down. Howe finds it in transition, and Souza eventually with the strike just beyond the far post, or the near post, I should say. All right, we're into the last 10 minutes now, so I'm going to hit pause again, and we're going to go one last change. This one we will do on condition. You can see Souza struggling quite a bit. Chow Ru will come on for him, and we will say we've got faith in him, and he seems motivated. Can he try and find a way to break the deadlock? There's a highlight here immediately before that sub's even cleared. They're coming forward out to Fukushima. Zheng Tao, reverse pass to Fukushima again, who's had an excellent game playing from fullback. Cut back there to Hanwei, very similar spot to where he scored the opening goal of the match. We managed to deal with it. I'm going to hit demand more. We've got a throw in now, left-hand side. Back to Vasil, base of midfield, just trying to pull the strings from there. Ball out now to Moraes. Not the greatest crosser, but he does work it over to Vasil on the far side. Wang An reverse pass to Jiang Lei, and he's found the finish. I think he's offside. I think that first pass that's gone to him is fractionally offside, and this one's going to get pulled back by VAR. They've disallowed it due to offside. Fair enough, it did look it in the build-up. Is there any late shouts I can use to try and get a winner? Oh, they've got a deep free kick. Han Wei, cleared to Wang An. Okay, we're 2v1 if we work this correctly. He's going to go straight at goal, find the cutback. He finds the finish instead. That'll do. I'll take a goal wherever I can get it. Wang An with an absolutely fantastic strike. I think they've committed too many men forward here for the set piece. And look, Peng Chuang stays central. Jiang Lei runs offside for whatever reason, comes back onside there, but he's never really in a position to tap it home. So Wang An just absolutely blasts that one back across the goalkeeper, and potentially we are setting up a famous finish. There's an immediate highlight here. I need to use a demand more shout before we lose sight of this game. Moraes with a long clearance, Jiang Lei with the flick on. straight back in, out to Fukushima, who I think's moved a little bit further forward on the pitch. Zheng Tao now joining on the overlap, finds the cutback, and they've pulled it back. Straight away, Martin Band has come off the bench and found an assist straight away from the kickoff. This is very frustrating. What happens here in the middle? It's this same penalty spot area. Maybe we need to get away from no-nonsense centre-backs. Maybe they dropped too deep. And maybe Vasil's lost his runner in midfield. And Ling Bin, he was dragged way too far to the right. He didn't need to be out there. There is a late highlight here. Okay, it's going to be a set piece. And it's going to be Kai Hao with the chance to try and find an equalising goal or a winning goal, and he's done it. Holy shit. Okay, this game's had absolutely everything, and that is a fantastic strike. Still another 2.5 minutes to go of injury time, but have a look at that one. 35 yards, just curls that one perfectly into the top corner under an incredible amount of pressure, and we just have to hold on. They've got a deep free kick again. It's towards back stick. It's pinballing around. It's going to go back to Hanwei, the taker. Someone's got to get out to him, and Band has just nodded at home. You've got to be kidding me. Is that actually going to go ahead as a goal? We're into the 6th minute of 5 additional minutes that were supposed to be added on. No one goes out to Hanwei quick enough, and this is, I guess, the challenge. Surely Jimbo and Mario Maholo are offside and obstructing the goalkeeper. Band wasn't, to be fair. Holy shit. What a game that is. That is absolutely ridiculous. 4-4. This is going to do nothing for my heart rate if this is what it's going to be like throughout the course of the season, but it ends at 16 shots, 11 on target, 2.57 XG, 54% possession for Shenyang, 15 shots, 10 on target, 1.84 XG, and 46% possession. XG is a crock of shit if we're both scoring 4 goals. I'm just going to say, well done, lads. You avoided a lot of people. Whatever. You proved a lot of people wrong in avoiding defeat. I've lost the ability. That game has broken me. I'm not going to lie. And goals galore as Shenyang Urban and Dalian Pro draw. Yes, that's accurate. I do want to quickly, we are in 5th spot, so there were quite a few draws throughout the course of the opening round, so it doesn't kill our momentum or anything like that. But still, I feel like we're probably going ahead twice in the last 10 minutes. Like, you really should be holding on to games at that particular point. There's one stat I want to quickly look at before we go. Team detail, and I want to check out the spend. So Shanghai Shenhua have spent 285 million this season. We've actually made profit, the most in the division, 69.26. So far this season, finances are okay. The rich clubs we're going to keep an eye on. So Shanghai are 1, Guangzhou, Jiangsu, Dalian, who we just played, Shandong, Changchun, Henan, and Beijing. So quite a few teams in there that are spending quite a bit of cash. Shanghai, again, after coming up from the 2nd division, spending the most, 344 million yuan per year on salary. Absolutely crazy. We are not the bottom. If we were within our wage budget, we would 100% be the bottom because I'm spending twice that. We are currently at 51, 3rd bottom, 14th in the division. But these rich clubs, like the money that they are paying is absolutely ridiculous. And it wasn't that long ago that Tianjin was rich as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see if any of these jobs come up throughout the course of the season, or if we get any invites to go and, you know, coach any of these clubs. I'm not going to apply to any of them. If they come up, I'm going to wait for them to come to me for interviews. But if they do, we'll jump back in and bring that to you guys in a future episode. All right, roller coaster to start off the season. We covered off a whole bunch of different information, goals galore in the first match itself. Hopefully we can find some defensive solidity throughout the course of the year, but hopefully you guys found it enjoying. If you did, drop a like on the video, help celebrate the start of a new season, help celebrate our Brazilian success. If you want to also be kept up to date on future videos, you can subscribe to the channel to see all of our stuff. Go and check out the reserve team, all that sort of stuff as well. If guys like Sog and whoever else are in the comment section, go and check out all their fantastic work. But really, more than anything, I just appreciate you all watching along with me. I've been Sean, and I'll see you all again in the mixer.